Hello and welcome to the Waste of Web Space podcast, episode 68.
Starring
Jimbo
and Fisher.
And we are live after all those issues we were having last week. We are actually up and running and live. So this is a live episode. People can join in. I'm going to share it from my own Facebook page as well, so people can, as many people as possible can listen in, or as few as people as possible. That's absolutely fine as well. What do you think, Fish?
I don't want to tempt fate or anything, Jimbo, but you say we're back live after all the issues we had last time. We've only just started recording this, and we've got probably another 70, 80, maybe even 90 minutes to go. We're not quite out of the woods yet.
Well, just saying alone that, we've got like 70, 80, 90 minutes to go is already going to make people not want to listen. So, anyway.
No, not listen.
Watch
now.
Watch it live. Watch. Yeah.
Although, obviously, we will still have some audio listeners, and you're more than welcome to continue listening. We hope you enjoy this, maybe on the commute, or perhaps as you're just relaxing in the bath, or using this maybe to try and get to sleep. So please enjoy in whatever format you're either watching or listening. Exactly.
People do use it for all sorts of different reasons, don't they?
Just normal stuff.
Especially in the bath, apparently. It's our tones that people tend to like. Don't know if it's more mine or yours. Not sure. Write to us.
Move on. Jimbo, please can you tell us the subtitle of this episode and change the subject?
The subtitle of this episode is Football's COVID Home. Are you ready? Or COVID Home. I keep calling it COVID, but I think it's supposed to be said COVID, isn't it? I say it Yorkshire, I think.
I always pronounce it COVID as opposed to COVID.
Yeah, I'm a COVID pit, but I recorded this with COVID to make sure that we appealed to the masses. Are you ready?
Which version is this? Is this the original version or Football's COVID Home 98?
Football's COVID Home, it's COVID Home, it's COVID Home, it's COVID. Football's COVID Home, it's COVID Home, it's COVID Home, it's COVID. Football's COVID Home. And that's... So it is back on our screens. The fans all watch on streams. There's no mascots, there's no crowd, and it's a bit strange. 5 substitutes, stop for breaks, fake crowd noise, can't celebrate goals, and sterilise balls, germ-riddled football shirts, empty stadium seating, but it could be worse. You could be watching Reading. So I couldn't think of any other football clubs that kind of rhymed with seating. Seating, Reading. It was the closest I could get, But who's to say that Reading... Why is it pronounced Reading and not Reading? Because that's how it's written. Is that just because
I have no idea.
Not?
Yeah. I'm sure we can try and find that out for the next episode.
We could do.
It's a bit strange. I think we'll probably cover football being back later on in the episode, won't we?
We will, yeah.
So what have you been up to anyway, Jimbo?
What have I been up to? I have been basically trying to get this working, get this up and running. That's been the main sort of thing. The main reason I want to do it is because it saves me a lot of time. It saves me it used to take hours and hours to sort out the video afterwards and make sure the audio was all in sync and everything like that.
It didn't take you hours, though, did it? It took a while to extract. I mean, you didn't actually manually sit there like
yes, I did.
Some kind of tape log.
Have you ever tried to sync up audio, Skype, or because it's too technical for people to have to listen to. But Skype does something where it tries to make you match, and because there's obviously that slight delay in it, and then it means that it looks weird. And I try and put different audio on anyway. It doesn't matter. Anyway, what about you, Fisher? What have you been up to?
Nah, not much really. To be fair, I've probably not even got any form of entertaining story. And obviously, I never do have an entertaining story, but I've not even got anything that I think might be entertaining.
So we go live, and you've got no entertaining stories for us.
I've been playing golf, pretty much, is what I've been doing quite a lot of.
Did you enjoy Father's Day?
With
your dad?
I went to go see my dad.
Yeah. How is he? Was he okay? Did he get any sort of gifts from Schweppes or anything like that?
No, nothing from Schweppes. He's retired from there now.
So there's a lot of staff there who still see him as a father figure.
Yeah, just inundated with bottles of lemonade and tonic water.
Yeah.
They make much else Schweppes, bitter lemon.
Yeah, very very calm person, your dad, isn't he? But get him angry, he'll get all shook up, and
Yeah, we did actually play. We played golf together, me and him. possibly, I think, very, very rare that we actually play together as a little team. Because when you play golf, if you're playing in a group of 4, you tend to have a team of 2 against a team of 2. And we played against 2 of his friends. And yeah, it's just so good, sort of doing things like alongside your dad and kind of like sharing those times and moments together. And wouldn't it have been great if we could have got a win?
How did you do?
It would have been great, wouldn't it? Oh, we got absolutely stuffed. We lost 5 and 7.
Was that more down to you, or would you say it was down to other people?
I didn't particularly play very well, but the 2 people we were playing against did actually play quite well. But losing 5 and 7, so that means that with 5 holes to go of the 18, the game was already over, and we'd lost by 7 holes. So that's a very, very bad loss. I mean, with 5 holes to go, if we'd have won that, then we might have still been able to go, but we didn't. We lost, so we went even further down, which is a very, very frustrating result to have. I think probably what are you doing?
I dropped my phone. I just realised I'd shared our stream, so other people could watch it, but only with you because we've been testing. So.
Oh right, okay.
But everybody can see. Everyone should be able to see it, and they should be up and running. From our main page, they should have. But I thought I'd share it with my own friends as well. Anyway, do we need to give anyone any shout outs or anything at this stage, or just absolutely not?
Well, we don't have to give anyone a shout out. It's our discretion as to whether we do or don't give anyone a shout out.
There might be.
I'm sure we've got new people watching or listening to this all the time, and we know that because we know there's a podcast somewhere in Sheffield that seems to be nicking our ideas. But never mind.
There is. Do you want to mention it now? So should we do it before we move on? We'll
not mention the podcast by name, but
no.
We are aware of another podcast that seems to be doing very similar to us.
It's a good podcast, and they've got a very, it's a particular podcast, so it's aimed at certain people who like a certain thing. But when we started up, we started slightly before them, and we have a little feature at the start of our podcast, which we'll be doing next, and then they quickly set up their own little podcast doing something very similar, but mainly as their whole podcast, which is absolutely fine. It's really good, actually. I've watched it a few times. But then when we started doing video, they shortly followed with video. When we started doing the live stream, they shortly followed with a live stream. So what we're suggesting, Fisher, is what we're going to do is we are going to do next week's episode naked.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or in a bath of beans or something like that.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens.
Well, tell you what, rival podcast. Why don't you beat us to it?
That's a good idea.
Jimbo, do you think they'll fall for it?
Probably not. No.
Yeah.
No.
Well, never mind.
Yeah.
Well, let's say, should we have a beer anyway? What do you reckon to a beer?
Yeah. So I've gone for, and this is quite good because it works with it kind of links to what's gone off with the recent news and so on, with the government and their app thing that's been a bit of a failure, which I'm sure we'll talk about later on. Trackdown is my beer, and it's from the Ulchti Brewing Co. I can't even say it. I mean, how would you pronounce that? Is it going to come up on a different?
I don't know because on my screen I've got a picture of me obscuring it. But, it's Ultige?
Yeah, UILTJE Brewing Co. But anyway,
I don't know. Are you sure you got the can the right way up?
I have. I've just never seen a spelling like that before. It's a juicy pale ale. I'm trying to find where it's brewed for you. But anyway, if you hold on, here we go. Oh, it's from the Netherlands. That makes sense. Right. That might make sense. It's Dutch. Double Dutch. Anyway, yeah, so in Haarlem, the Netherlands.
Haarlem. Yeah. Yeah, there's a place called Haarlem in the Netherlands. I think it's too far from Amsterdam. Not to be confused with the place in America where the Globetrotters come from, obviously.
Yep.
But yeah, such a place does exist. I've seen it mentioned when I've been in the Netherlands myself. We just
had a message come from Stephen Merritt, who said, "Are you sitting on your new chair, James?" Yes, Stephen, I am. Please don't say any more about it because it's going to feature in my next little thing for Fisher. So don't say any more about it. Okay, go for it. Go on then.
Stephen Merritt could get in and answer the question for me on my behalf, and that would be much appreciated.
Could do, yeah. It's a top secret.
Show and tell item.
What have you got, Fisher?
I've got as part of this ongoing thing that I'm doing, which is drinking all of the beer that I've currently still got in my house. I've got some Tuborg lager, I think from Denmark, brewed by the same people who brewed Carlsberg. who I think are called Carlsberg.
Okay.
So I think this is Danish lager. It's got quite an interesting little ring pull on the top of it, which I'm going to try and take off. Instead of just having a bottle opener, I have a ring pull there that I can rip off. I'm going to try and do that live on air, and I'm about to cover myself in lager. So here we go.
Is that what Grolsch have?
No, it's a swing top, isn't it? The Grolsch have.
So what's this one again?
A
twist top.
Some kind of plastic ring pull thing that seals it. It pull off, so there is no requirement to have a bottle opener.
Yeah.
And it's not very sharp as well, which is probably quite good.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and I've actually managed to open it, which is more than impressive.
Well, there you go. Cheers, Fisher. Okay, here we go then.
Cheers, Jimbo.
Okay, so my question then for you is my feature. It's a show and tell feature. So each week, for those listening and watching, we bring in a different item, don't we? Take it in turns, and we bring in a different item. You sometimes wear an item of clothing. I've brought some weird items in, and my old cuddly toy, and all sorts of different things over the last few weeks. And we ask each other, we give each other a reason as to where this item's come from or the story behind it. And then the other one has got to try and guess which is the real reason and which is the fake reason. So which is the truth, which is the lie. So I'm going to publish this so that people can take part in it. And what I've got today is a new chair. I don't know if you're able to see it on my screen.
Yep.
Do you want to try and demonstrate? Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it, yeah.
I'm going to lift it up and everything.
I'm presuming you're going to spin it round. Oh, it's got arms. That's nice, that.
It's a very nice chair. Very nice.
Yep.
It's like a leathery sort of cream colour. So I've got a new chair. Because the one before I'd sort of stolen from work. Not stolen, borrowed for lockdown, okay?
When you say it's a leathery cream colour, do you mean it's a cream colour?
Yeah.
Because surely leathery is not a type of colour, is it?
No, but it's a leathery material and it's cream,
Yeah,
okay? So, where did I get it from? Two possible reasons. First of all, it's from a dear old lady. Number two, it was found, dumped down the side of where I live here. And it was there a while, and I kept keeping my eye on it, thinking, I want that chair. Anyway, you can ask me and find out a little bit more about each one to find out what you think the answer is.
So, my first question is, Stephen Merritt, please can you comment on this and tell me what the answer is?
No, don't do that. You'll ruin it.
That'd be ruining it for not just me and Jimbo, but for all the viewers and listeners that we've got. So the dear old lady who you got it from, how did you meet this dear old lady? Was she selling the chair? Did you steal it from her?
The dear old lady is sadly no longer with us, unfortunately. But she is a great aunt of mine. I don't mean as in she was great. I mean she was a great aunt, but she was also great as well. Was she an actual aunt, or is she just a friend of your mum's who was quite close, who you called aunt? No, she was an aunt, a great, related great auntie. Okay. What was the name? Brenda. Okay. More commonly known as Auntie Brenda? Yes, Auntie Brenda. Okay. Is it mum or dad's side? Mum's side. Okay. So, I don't want to have to ask the question, but whenabouts did Brenda sadly pass away? I think it was about 6 weeks ago. Okay. I'm sorry to hear of your loss. I'm surprised you never told me about it at the time. I like to keep things to myself. Exactly. Well, I mean, obviously we are quite close friends, but obviously not quite that close, clearly. So, I'm very sorry to hear of your loss. And you can ask him more about the chair if you like. I mean, she had this beautiful chair. What was her thoughts in terms of that chair? Was it a computer chair? Was it sort of a chair she had in the living room? Was it? Well, she never. As far as I'm aware, she never used a computer. Well, what's she got that chair for then? Apparently, she used to wheel herself around in the kitchen on it. Oh, okay. Making food and such. Quite dangerous, that, isn't it? If she's using sort of kitchen objects, sort of knives and that sort of stuff to make food, and she's wheeling around on a chair. Which brings me on to why she's sadly not with us in it. No, I'm only joking.
Okay, so that's obviously one option. The other option is that you kind of just got it from the alleyway near your house. So how long had it been there for before you decided to take it into your house?
Well, there's been numerous chairs there, and there's been lots of like tables and stuff. Next door there is an advice centre, and there's a lot of like there's a lot of, what do you call it, like charity shops and things like that around here that kind of sell bits of jumble and stuff like that. So I saw it and I had my eyes on it for weeks, and I kept thinking it looks good, Dan. It looks better than mine, and it doesn't seem like. And it was it was getting a bit wet as well because it's been raining a little bit every now and again. So it was kind of partly sheltered, but obviously I didn't want to leave it outside for long, and so I just took it, and I'm waiting to see if anybody comes from the next door, the advice centre where I found it sort of down the side, just to ask was I okay to take it.
Do you think anyone sort of took the chair into the advice centre and said, I've had this terrible experience with this chair, I want to bring it back. What's my advice in terms of getting some consumer-related assistance on this, because it's caused me various ergonomic problems, my back hurting because of it. So when you said, obviously, that you didn't want to leave it outside, are you aware that it's not really your decision to make if it's not your chair?
What, to take the chair?
Well, to leave it outside or not?
Well, it wasn't. Well, somebody must have been doing a clear out, and it was me who saw it, and I thought I could benefit from the benefits of this chair.
Okay. When you walk past a skip, do you start taking things out of it? If
there was a nice chair in there, I might have done. Yeah.
We don't need one. We've already got one. What are you talking about? So, do you think that it matches in with the rest of your house and it's got a nice colour scheme? Is it the kind of chair you were looking for anyway?
I wanted a new chair, and this has got arms on it, and I've never, whenever in the office at work, it's never me that lands that chair with the arms on it, the comfy chair. I always get the old one that's been passed down through various members of staff who never stayed long enough to have their own, proper good chair.
Well, why don't you just go into the alleyway next to your office and see whether there's some decent chairs in there then?
Well, this is something I'll do in future.
Yeah. So, do we want to get back to your auntie? Sorry, what was her name again?
Brenda.
Brenda, okay. All right, you've remembered. Well done. So, was it coronavirus related, her passing 6 weeks ago?
It wasn't. It wasn't, but it was obviously really sad. It wasn't, but obviously because of the circumstances of coronavirus, it meant that it was quite hard for her to get visitors and things like that before, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, so it's very, very, very sad to hear, if it's true. And if it's not true, then, well, that's a terrible thing to make up, really, isn't it?
Unless I'd made the person up.
What, sorry?
Unless I'd made the person up.
I should have made the person up, yeah. Yeah, it might be a bit bad if you do have an Auntie Brenda and she's watching this. The story is that she sadly passed away. She'd be like, why is she saying that for?
She did like Facebook. If Brenda's a real person, or was a real person, she did like Facebook. She was, although she didn't use a computer, I don't think very much, she was a Facebook user.
Okay. So obviously when she commented on things on Facebook, was her spelling absolutely terrible?
Because?
Well, just sort of, that's the way sort of, without wanting to generalise all older people and mums and grandmas and stuff, it just seems to be a bit of a slight thing that maybe kind of getting your writing absolutely spot on and correct doesn't necessarily always flow through to the older generation.
No, I think they're I think the spelling's good. I think it's the finding finding the space bar, isn't it? Like I remember, I'm sure it was my dad. Used to put full stops instead of spaces when he couldn't find it. It can't have been my dad, because my dad's pretty good at it anyway. Somebody I know did that anyway.
Okay. So is it time for a decision?
Yeah, let's go for it. Go on. What are you going for?
Have people voted on this on Facebook? Or?
Yeah, well, it's 50-50. We haven't had many votes, to be honest with you, so I can't help you out here. It's just 50-50.
I don't want to kind of big things up too much, but Stephen Merritt, he says, Fisher, you are one cool dude. So obviously, quite clearly, he's never met me. So I think I would say that. Do I think you would make up a relative who sadly passed away? I don't know. I think you might have taken this from an alleyway near your house.
Every time I do really well at this. I'm really good on it at telling little porkies like that. So yeah, this is actually from my Auntie Brenda, great Auntie Brenda. So thank you for your chair, great Auntie Brenda. I'm using it and thinking of you. And yeah, she was a big Facebook fan, so she'd always keep up with things on Facebook within the family and stuff like that as well. But yeah, there you go. That is the truth. Did you enjoy that, Fisher?
Well, I didn't enjoy the fact that one of your relatives has just died now. But I did enjoy the round, yes. So sorry to hear you lost Jimbo, and kind of all the best, Auntie Brenda.
When did you last check your balls? When did you last go outside for a quiet rummage and a rearrange? Thieves are operating in the area and are particularly targeting garden sheds for balls of all varieties. Tennis balls, cricket balls, footballs, rugby eggs, and even head balls, although Yvette Cooper's shed is now highly surveillanced. So remember to check your balls regularly. Keep them secure, and if you're into badminton, check your cocks too. So, you've got a little... Oh, we need an apology, don't we, first of all? Have we got an apology to make?
Should we apologise to... Hang on, you put something down on Apology of the Week, haven't you?
I thought you put it.
No, I think it was the fact that we told people that we were live twice last week and we failed.
Oh, right, there we go, yeah.
Yeah,
true,
we had two abandoned attempts at doing the live podcast.
Well, they've got us now, haven't they? So... no one's bothered, so...
I think I've got another apology later on, but I think we'll cover it when we actually talk about the news story itself.
Okay. Right.
If that's okay.
Yeah. So you've got something for us, haven't you?
Well, football's back on. And I think about 2 months ago, maybe, I did a quiz about sort of owners of Premiership football teams. So I thought I would do another one because, to be fair, they give you quite a lot of material. I couldn't really think of anything else as well, so... I thought, with the football being back on, let's do some more questions about the owners of various football teams. To be fair, I've actually only stuck around 4 teams on this one. There's a couple of questions per team. So are we ready to go? Yeah, let's go. And listeners, viewers, if you want to play along and see how many you can get. Now, bearing in mind, last week, how many questions you've got, right. Sorry? I've got 10 again. Last week we did 10 questions, and you got the first one wrong, which is sort of normally quite typical for yourself. You know, follow that with a lot more wrong answers, but you got the next 9 correct. Exactly. So I got 9 out of 10 last week. So the challenge is to our viewers and listeners: can you score more than me in Fisher's football owners quiz? Let's go. But also, from your point of view, Jimbo, I would say that your 9 answers correct on the trot is still ongoing. So if you get the first 5 or 6 right, then it could be a run of 15, 16, 14, 15, 16, whatever it is. So see how long you can keep your run going for, if that's okay. I think I'm going to fail at the first hurdle here, but anyway. Well, let's see. So I think I've gone off screen, by the way. On the you go ahead and ask questions, and I'll sort myself out because I've vanished. Oh, right, okay. I don't know. I'm not actually watching it. So, former Everton chairman Bill Kenwright. Are you familiar with the name at all? Yes, I am. Used to be the chairman, I think, owner of Everton. Mm-hmm. What was his involvement, or what did he do prior to being involved at Everton? Was he in the Merseybeat band The Searchers, who had 3 number 1s in the 1960s? He then worked as a concert promoter. Or was he an actor who played a part in Coronation Street during the 1960s, and he was later a theatre producer? So he was either a performer... A musician in a Merseybeat band, and then worked as a concert promoter, so sort of stayed in the music industry. Or was he an actor who was in Coronation Street, and then later a theatre producer? So I suppose the question is, was he an actor or a musician? And which football club was this again, sorry? This was at Everton. Everton. Bill Kenwright. I seem to think I might have heard of this one. And I think it might have been Coronation Street, I think, but I'm not 100% sure. So I'm gonna go with that. Coronation Street, you'll be correct. Well done. The run is continuing. Yeah. I was quite impressed with this because I didn't really know much about him, but apparently he was in Coronation Street. Can't remember the name of the character he played off the top of my head. But more recently, probably the most recent interaction people would have had or seen him on television was, do you remember, sort of probably about 10 years ago, Graham Norton used to present a few programmes for the BBC where they used to try and find new stars for various musicals. So they tried to get someone to play the lead part in Sound of Music.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's someone trying to get the lead role in Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
He was a judge on, I think, the Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat show. He was one of the judges on that, apparently.
Right.
Bill Kenwright, owner of Everton. Oh, and by the way, he's a theatre producer, so that's what you're doing on it.
That'd be a great way to find a new football club owner.
It could be, yeah. It'd be a lot better than some of the ones we've had in the past, no doubt.
Graham Norton, how do you solve a problem like Newcastle United or something like that? And then get all the owners together, and if they do a good song, or something like that, then they win Newcastle United. And
tell you what,
like we mentioned, one of those big mugs from Sports Direct.
Yeah, of course. Can you imagine that, though, if they tried to change the kit that they wore to the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat that Joseph wears? I mean, that wouldn't go down well with the fans, would it?
It wouldn't, no.
Staying on Everton, former Everton shareholder John Woods, what did he do during the 1980s? Was he a Channel 4 executive, and he helped to create Brookside, or did he create a software company which helped to create Donkey Kong?
So you're saying Everton again here?
Everton again, yeah.
So
I'm staying on. I'm doing a few questions on each team.
So he's one of the directors at Everton.
He's a former shareholder of Everton and former board member as well.
So that could link, the sort of TV industry thing. It could link in with, did you say Bill Kenwright? Did you say?
Bill Kenwright. Yeah.
So it could link in there. So it would make sense for me to go for that answer, because it sounds like there could have been some sort of connection between them there. But I'm not going to do that because I think you might have thrown that in there to trick me. So I'm going to go for the other one, and that he was involved in the creation of Donkey Kong.
I think you might be overestimating quite how clever I am. And also, there is a difference between sort of director of a company and TV director as well, I would hasten to add.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, working in the TV industry together. That's how they might have,
So you think he helped to create Donkey Kong?
I'm going to go with that one.
Well done, you'll be correct. 11 on the trot.
2 out of 2 so far in this one.
Okay, so current owner is Fahad Moshi. What has he done to raise money? Has he sold the next 10 years' worth of season ticket income to an external investor, even though they've not sold those season tickets yet? Or has he sold the naming rights to Everton's proposed new stadium, even though they haven't actually got the stadium yet?
I think... So tell me the first one again.
He sold the next 10 years' worth of season ticket income.
I think
so. If anyone buys a season ticket in the next 10 years, the money just goes to this new investor, and he's giving a load of money to Everton.
There's a lot of football clubs doing things a bit similar to that. I know Sheffield Wednesday are trying to raise a lot of money up front by doing like long-term season ticket, sort of like 10-year season tickets and things like that.
There is no one I know who deserves a 10-year season ticket for Sheffield Wednesday. I mean, I know we're trying to get tough on sort of crime and punishment, but that just is not fair.
I mean, I was thinking this the other day, and it doesn't matter. I'm not going to say it. It's fine. I won't say it. I was thinking about the cardboard cutouts at on the Sheffield Wednesday game, because they had cardboard cutouts in the crowd, and like some of the foreign things had, and some foreign teams did. And I was wondering whether they'd sort of charge them for a pioneer program and stuff like that. I don't know. But anyway, that's a bit of a Sheffield Wednesday joke. Let's go with I think it's going to be the season ticket one.
Jimbo, the run has ended.
Oh. So he sold the naming rights to the stadium, but they don't even have the stadium yet. It's not even
They don't have the stadium, but for £30 million, he has sold the naming rights to his former business partner.
Has it even started to be constructed yet?
I don't think so. I think it's down at Barton Dock in Liverpool. And so I think they've got planning permission for it. I think they're aiming to be moving there in about 3 years' time.
Okay.
And apparently in something that is completely legitimate and not just a way to get around the financial fair play rules that you have in football, it just happens to raise £30 million from his former business partner who used to own shares in Arsenal to rename a stadium that hasn't been built yet.
Right, fair
allegedly.
enough.
So nothing wrong with that. All above board, and I'm sure you'll agree.
So that's 2 out of 3 now then.
2 out of 3 so far. So Leicester City. Whilst taking over Leicester City in 2011, what other title did Vichy Seredinapara also have? Not quite sure on the pronunciation of his name there. Was he also the president of the London-based polo club, the Ham Polo Club? Or is he a very keen mahjong player and was president of the UK's Mahjong Association?
So is this the owner who's sadly no longer with us, or is it his son?
It's the owner who's sadly no longer with us, who died in a helicopter crash a few years ago.
So what was the sport that you mentioned, or what the
polo?
The polo, but what the second one was? He's a
mahjong.
What's mahjong?
It's that game, isn't it? That's I think it's a popular Chinese game. Don't you have sort of loads of triangles on the board, and you put your counter on the triangle? I don't really know how you play it. I've seen them. I know people talk about it every now and again. Popular quiz question, isn't it, mahjong? Well,
he's a feature for the next few weeks. Then we're gonna try and have a game of mahjong or do a quiz about mahjong. And okay, I think it might be. I think it might be the polo one. I think he was somehow involved in a polo team.
A keen polo player.
Yeah.
Well done. You would be correct.
3 out of 4.
Yeah, good stuff. Do you know you can only play polo right-handed?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, right, as you say. Because otherwise, if one person played right-handed and one person played left-handed, because you sat on the horse, and if you keep the mallet to your right-hand side, if you're kind of going for the same ball, you're okay, because everyone's playing right-handed. If one person was playing right-handed, the other person playing left-handed, you come up against, as you were going for the ball together, two horses just crash into each other. So
you've got to be right-handed to play polo.
You've got to play. You don't got to be right-handed, but you've got to play right-handed.
So if you started playing, you're arguably disadvantaged if you start playing polo, and you are generally a left-hander, aren't you? Slightly.
Yeah, that would be very difficult. So you just have to try and learn the skills with your right hand instead. I suppose if you're predominantly left-handed, you've got to play right-handed, it'd probably feel like someone else is playing for you.
The other day I realised that my daughter, who's 3, is better at knowing what's a left-hand and a right-hand than what I am. Like, I still have to do that sometimes to check. You know, if someone goes, put your left hand up, I'm like, it gives me, I have a second of just thinking. Whereas she can just go, foot, arm, whatever.
Yeah. Well done. Well done on acknowledging that your 3-year-old daughter is cleverer than you on that front. Do you have to put your hand up like that and do the L for left?
I'll do a space podcast. Thank you.
There she is.
And very polite as well. Which is curly 3.
Yeah.
So, there we go. So, after, or before, before Vichari Sriradhara Harapara, that's definitely not how you pronounce his name, was owner of Leicester. They were formerly owned by Milan Mandaric, who then went on to own Sheffield Wednesday. After he sold Sheffield Wednesday, what is he now doing? Does he now own the Bosnian team, Siroki Brijig, or does he own the Slovenian team, NK Olimpia Ljubljana?
I was hoping you was going to say, or is he doing something completely different? Because I know he's still involved in football, but I can't remember which team it is. I want to say...
So I suppose the question is, does he own a team in Bosnia
or Slovenia? Yeah. I think I'm going to go... Is Bosnia the country as well that have decided that they were just going to carry on as normal through the coronavirus? Or is that different?
I think that was
That's
Belarus.
Yeah, sorry. That's 2 different countries. Begins with B, not the same.
Yeah.
Let's go. Yeah. I want to go Bosnia.
Bosnia, you're being correct.
Oh. Never mind.
He owns a Slovenian team who looking at their progress, had a real sort of jump up in the division structure over the last few years. And following Mandaric's investment, they actually went on to win the National League and sort of got round into the first round of the Champions League. You know, where they play against like sort of the Welsh national champions and all that sort of stuff. But they never actually got through to the Champions League proper. So Liverpool FC used to be owned by Tom Hicks and George Gillett prior to their current owners. When they were owners, what did Tom Hicks' son, why did he have to resign from the board of directors in 2010? Did he email a fan calling him fuckface? Or did he do an interview with an American radio station where he called their fan base so loyal that he can con money out of them?
Can I just say that I warned our listeners last week before I swore. You did none of that, and viewers, you did none of that. You need to apologise.
I do apologise.
Foul language. Can you just read the question again, though, because I wasn't properly listening?
Now, I'm about to swear when I answer this question for the purposes of the question, which may or may not be a true representation of what Tom Hicks said in an email. But did he email...
Who's Tom Hicks again?
Tom Hicks is the son of the owner, of a former owner of Liverpool, also called Tom Hicks.
Okay.
So, these American families where the sort of businessmen, they call one Tom Hicks Senior and then Tom Hicks Junior, all this sort of stuff. So, funnily enough, he put his son on the board of directors, and his son had to resign because, like a lot of sons, when they fall down into business, they're very embarrassing.
Is this why you don't work for Schweppes anymore?
I'm not allowed to work for Schweppes anymore now. What did he do that made him resign? Did he email a fan calling the fan fuckface? Again, apologies for language. Or did he do an interview with an American radio show where he said Liverpool fan base was so loyal that he can con money out of them?
I'm going to go with the first one, I think. No. I'm going to do the second one. Sorry, I've just changed my mind. Although I don't know why would you put swearing in there if you didn't have to? You don't like to swear if you don't need to. So I think you might have. I'm going to change my mind again. I'm going to go back to A because I don't think you'd have swore on purpose unless you absolutely had to, because you're a very pleasant gentleman.
Well, that is true, but
and also very cool, obviously, according to one cool dude, according to Stephen Merritt. So yeah, I'm going to go with the first one.
I think Stephen Merritt sort of actually commented now to say I'm not actually that cool, but never mind. So, you think it was the first one that emailed a fan swearing at them?
Yeah.
Yep, you'd be correct. Well done.
What's that, like 4 out of 5 now, is it?
I've got 2 wrong, I think.
Oh, right, yeah. 4 out of 6.
So, 4 out of 6. So, yeah, he was stupid enough to swear at a fan and put it down on email. I mean, probably not the cleverest thing to do in the world is actually email, because then there is a documented written record of doing that, so probably not the right thing to do. So, Liverpool are now owned by the Fenway Sports Group. How did another one of their teams hit the headlines a few years ago? Is it that their baseball team, the Boston Red Sox, were caught sending messages to players via an Apple Watch? Or did their American football team, the San Francisco 49ers, they were caught deflating the American footballs to ensure it was harder to throw for the opposition's quarterback? All the ball boys were issued with good and bad balls for use by the home team and the opposition team. You
don't want to get bad balls, do you?
You don't want to get bad balls. You don't want to be too badly deflated.
No. Nobody wants deflated balls.
Yeah. Or oval shape with stitching on them.
So the second one is that they were making balls less good quality and more deflated, or so that the other team, at certain times, the other team wouldn't have so many benefits of a more inflated ball.
Yep.
Okay. And the first one, what was the first one again?
That they were sending messages to players on the pitch via an Apple Watch.
Ah.
Which is, I think in a lot of these sports, you're not allowed to communicate with people on the pitch via technology. So that's why football players or whatever can't wear earpieces and all that kind of thing.
Okay.
You just got to stand there and shout on. Go on, yeah, get it, yeah, I'm sorry, ref. Push out, squeeze him, move up.
This is all the stuff you can hear now, isn't it? Because the football, no crowds in the audio, and so on. That's why they're having to play crowd noises, isn't it?
Like fan noise, yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing that even when the referee blows the whistle, they do crowd noise going boo. Surely, why is it necessary to have the crowd? I don't get why.
Maybe it's on the referee's whistle, so when he blows it automatically, it just does that. Like, he can't get rid of it. That's just what happens. I think they're going to keep crowd noise going at some football grounds, aren't they, after this? It's been brilliant for some teams. Let's go then with the second one, and I think there was an issue to do with like the balls.
The inflation, deflation of balls.
Yeah.
You've been correct. It was Apple Watch.
4 out of 7.
That's all right. You're still doing well, doing above half marks.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was against the second one is laced in a bit of truth, because I think there was a story a few years ago with an American football team who did actually have some kind of incident where they deflated the balls to make it more difficult for one of the quarterbacks to throw. I think that was, I want to say it was New England Patriots quarterback Tom Brady. I think he was a quite well-known quarterback in America. Do you know anything about American football?
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, me neither. Let's move on. So, normal football. So, during the 1990s, Manchester City were owned by former player Francis Lee. What did he do in the years between playing for Manchester City and owning them?
Lee Francis? Did he make a series of sort of mock celebrities?
Yeah, so it took me a moment then to try and remember who Lee Francis was. No, it was Francis Lee.
Oh, right, okay.
Francis.
Fair enough.
Not Avid Marion and Keith Lemon and various other things. Yeah. So Francis Lee played football for Man City, ended up owning them. What did he do in that interim period? Did he set up the Welcome Break Motorway Service Station Company that now has 35 service stations, including Woodhall, Leicester Forest East and Newport Pagnell? Or did he run a toilet roll manufacturing business?
Wow. That is... they're both quite impressive, whichever one he went into, because he certainly benefited from the last one more recently. So toilet roll manufacturing. He was on a roll if he got into that, wasn't he?
Well, someone's got to do it, haven't they?
Yeah.
That's the thing, I suppose, if you...
It's a bottomless industry. He could have made loads of money. Let's think. So, motorway, he could have had the experience of being a player and going up the motorway and thinking, you know what, there's need more service stations on here. Anyone who can get into owning them, they're onto a winner. But then the bog roll thing, not sure where that would have come from.
Surely people manufactured toilet roll before then anyway, didn't they?
Yeah.
Then I suppose there's probably always a requirement for more.
I heard a story about someone fairly locally to here, I think, someone who went into basically recycling coat hangers and made a lot of money from just recycling old coat hangers, taking old coat hangers, recycling them and selling them on, and made a lot of money. So it's amazing what things you can do are out there. I'm going to go with
I went to a hotel a few years ago. It was called... where was it now? It was called something like the Blue Ball, out towards kind of workshop sort of way. And I'll have to try and find the name of it. But in the car park was a skip full of coat hangers. Absolutely. A big skip, completely and utterly full of coat hangers. And I have no idea why there were so many coat hangers in a skip. It's puzzled me all my life since seeing that. It was, I'll tell you exactly what day it was as well. June the 2nd, 2000 and... Hang on, what year was it? 2018, I think.
Oh, right, okay.
Went to a wedding there in the evening. Loads of coat hangers in a skip. I might have to, while we have the next commercial break, I might have to try and work out where this place was.
You could have made some money from that. Okay, I'm going to go with the bog roll one, I think. He made bog roll. Yeah.
Quite right, he did. He made a range of bog rolls, including reversible ones that you could use on both sides, but I didn't quite take off. But yeah, Franny Lee, Peter Kay, I think, used to work at his toilet roll factory.
Oh, right.
I think that might have been mentioned in some of his Peter Kay stand-up.
Is that why you went for the service station one? Because Peter Kay did a comedy about a service station as well, didn't he?
He's done a comedy about quite a lot of things, to be fair. But no, I was thinking about something that might be a bit unusual and random that someone may have made up. But I think Peter Kay says in his stand-up, I used to work in Franny Lee's. No, doing toilet rolls, not in his house, in his toilet roll factory. Sorry, that didn't sound very much like Peter Kay, to be fair. Did it?
They used to have something around here, didn't they, in Chapeltown? Was it the Eisel factory? And what did they used to make now? They used to make...
toilet roll.
Yeah, well, there you go. See?
Yeah.
Chapeltown is,
Eisel was the particularly horrible toilet roll that you used to kind of find in schools. It was almost like wiping your bottom with greaseproof paper, I believe.
Chapeltown, home of shit paper and shit podcast.
Yeah. And you complained at me for that language.
Sorry. Shit's not as bad as F. Or, anyway,
It's
go on.
worse, I think, isn't it?
Is it?
I would say. I'd say so, yeah.
Shit's worse than the F one? The F word?
If you'd like, can you please adjudicate on which is the worst swear word? Is it the S word or the F word? Please send your one-word answers directly through to Jimbo. That would be much appreciated.
I'd like to know, anyone who's listening or listens afterwards, which is worse, SHIT or FUCK? I would put CUNT in there, but I think that'd always top trump all of them, wouldn't it? So just between those two. Anyway, go on then, Fisher.
So, anyway. Man City, after Franny Lee was involved in the ownership, they were owned by someone called Taskin Shinawatra. What did he previously do as well as owning Manchester City? Was he previously the Prime Minister of Thailand, or was he the president of London-based polo club, Ham Polo Club, before Vishara Siddharana Hadaparas? God, I can't even come close to pronouncing his name.
Is this why these questions didn't? Is this why these questions didn't feature in the first owners football quiz because you couldn't say the names?
Couldn't pronounce the names of any of them. So effectively, was he the former Prime Minister of Thailand, or was he the president of the polo club before the Leicester City owner?
I think I'm going to go with that one. I think he was the president before, and I think that's why you've put it in. The president of the of the
polo club.
Yeah.
Did you know you can only play polo right-handed? And if you're not careful, all the horses will drown.
They will, yeah.
Oh, so that's water polo, yeah. So,
of course, yeah.
You said that it was.
But all the horses
club.
have got very minty breath at the same time as well.
Well, if they blow, they'll whistle as it goes through the hole in the mint. So no, it was former Prime Minister of Thailand.
I think I'm on. Am I on 5 yet? I can't remember if I'm on 4 now or 4 out of 8, 5 out of 8, 5 out of 9, 5 out of 9. This is your last question.
This is the last question.
I think I've got 5, but yeah.
Might be 5 or 6, but yeah, whichever. I think you're doing all right. So the current owner of Man City, Sheikh Mansour, every now and again he sacks the managers and has a big shake-up. He spent £170 million in 2009. What did he buy a stake in? Was it that he bought a stake in Elon Musk's Tesla company? Or did he buy a stake in Richard Branson's Virgin Galactic company?
See, all I can think is big stakes.
Big stakes.
Yeah.
And Virgin.
So you've got so either Sky Atlantic, which is going to be so what's that again? Sorry.
Atlantic, which is different. No. Sky Atlantic's a TV channel.
Yeah, of course Galactic. It is. Virgin Galactic. Is that the one that's going to hopefully take people to space?
Yeah, fingers crossed Richard Branson will be the first one.
Right.
And they'll leave him there. Although he'll refuse to pay any tax while he's in space.
Of course.
To the,
and what was the first one?
The first one was he'd invested in Tesla, Elon Musk's company that recently sent they send something up to the International Space Station. He sent his car into space, didn't he?
So he is the Airways, isn't it? Is it Emirates? Is it Emirates Airway? No, it's not. No, one of his big businesses is
Etihad.
Etihad, that's it. Yeah. Sorry.
I think there's a clue in the fact Manchester City Stadium is called the Etihad Stadium.
Yeah. All right. Sorry, I forgot. Yeah.
And their shirts say the word Etihad Airways on it. So that's a great bit of advertising for them. So what's his business? I think it might be Emirates. Is that right? Yeah.
Oh, look, my mind went blank. Okay, let's go with. I think it could be any, but I think he'll have gone with Elon Musk. I think.
You would be incorrect. You went with Richard Branson.
Oh well, I think I got 5. I'm fairly happy with that. So
yeah, I think 5 or 6 is a decent effort.
Yeah.
So I think we'll probably be able to do parts 3 and possibly part 4 of football club owners in the coming weeks, no doubt. I think they're a rich goldmine of very strange circumstances and odd things that they've done in the past. Some of these businessmen.
The Waste of Web Space podcast. The best, worst, and only podcast in Chapeltown, we think. We've got Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and a website, but nobody visits any of them. So I think we're going to have a quick look at the news then, aren't we, Fisher? And so do you want to start off with the kind of name of our podcast, or have we kind of covered that a little bit with the football stuff? So football's back, isn't it?
Football is back, and I've seen some of the latest scores. I'm not sure if you've seen. I'll read this one out to you. The government 0, Marcus Rashford 1.
Hey.
So, and that sort of ties in a little bit to Apology of the Week for us, because in last episode we said that Marcus Rashford had put in a request to the government that children get free school meals during the school holidays this year, given the testing circumstances going around the country, and we said that the government rejected it, which I think was actually right at the time. But then the next day they accepted it and bowed to the public pressure, really.
So that was just after we did our podcast, didn't it? So we were kind of out of date straight away, weren't we? Because they made the U-turn, didn't they? Yeah.
I suppose I was quite intrigued, really, seeing the whole thing, because surely giving kids school meals is really just a way of ensuring that people who can't afford to eat, you're actually ensuring that children are getting something to eat and are not going hungry. So why would you only do it for 39 weeks of the year in the first place? Why would you not want to feed these children during the school holidays is what I can't quite understand. Surely being at school is just a way of actually delivering this.
It should have been the thing. It should have been a thing anyway, shouldn't it? Arguably.
Well, you sort of thought so. If you say that the problem is there and you've identified it, I don't really see how you can turn around and say, well, it's not there during school holidays. It's not a problem.
What I did see about this was quite funny. So Katie Hopkins had said something about basically, I mean, she's not on Twitter anymore, which is brilliant news, I think. As far as I'm aware, she's still not on Twitter. Is that right?
I think she was I believe she was permanently banned a few days ago.
Good. But anyway, she said something to Marcus Rashford about, do you not think that, people shouldn't be having kids if they can't afford to feed them and stuff like that? And Marcus Rashford's reply was pretty funny, wasn't it? Was it something like, "Dear Katie Hopkins, piss off"?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't actually his reply.
Oh, was it not?
No, I think it was a fake account that was set up, a parody account of Marcus Rashford that said that. To be fair,
yeah. Did she tweet the parody account then?
What was that? Sorry.
Did she tweet the parody account?
No, I think she just said that out loud, and then Marcus Rashford, but it was Marcus Rashford as opposed to Marcus Rashford or something like that.
Yeah.
Got back and told her where to go.
Yeah.
I'm sure the actual Marcus Rashford
would have done the same thing.
Would have thought the same thing. Or in fact, his alias, Daniel Rashford, as the health secretary called him.
Yeah.
You saw that in an interview. Matt Hancock came on TV, and it always reminds me of Matt Hancock a little bit of, if you've ever been on a stag do, there's some bloke who stands in the background and no one really knows. It's probably just a work colleague or something of the stag. Or a cousin or a distant uncle or something like that.
Do you not think that it's a massive shame that, I mean, it's not, what obviously Marcus Rashford done is amazing, but it's a massive shame that it takes a footballer to get that put through, whereas how many other people are putting like petitions forward and saying that, this isn't right, this should happen, but because they're not a footballer, they're not being listened to. Do you know what I mean? Or it's not taken seriously. The government aren't going to go against that, are they? Because of the sort of, it's
popularity.
Exactly. So,
what I do find interesting in that sort of Katie Hopkins' comment was that why should I be paying money for kids that other people's children can't afford? Now, I suspect it's not to say everyone would agree with this, but I think if you asked most taxpayers what they would like their money to be spent on, and he said, one thing we can do is ensure that children who can't afford to eat, we actually make sure they get given some food. I think a lot of people probably say, I'd quite like that to happen if that's okay, because even if their parents, maybe with what Kate Hopkins says, their parents do actually struggle to afford them, it's not actually the child's fault.
No.
And maybe it would be nice to ensure that all the children in this country could actually have a decent meal every day, just as a real basic standard of things that we can do for children.
There's too many Katie Hopkins in this world, unfortunately. She's not the only one. She's just the top of the pile.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say there's too many Katie Hopkins in the world. There's one of them. That would be a very accurate statement to make. But there we go. So as I say, fantastic work for Marcus Rashford to do that. So well done.
The government.
That's just been
the government's track and trace system. So they brought this track and trace system in. They decided from the start. They were said, Apple and Google sort of reached out saying, let's work together on this. Let's try doing this together alongside your National Health Service and your own technology departments. Will work together and make sure this works. And and other countries have done that, and they've got their systems up and running. We decided, as with other things, what, we'll not take that PPE. We'll sort of zone out. We'll give Turkey a call so we can get us all. And again, something else has failed, hasn't it? And the government have had to kind of go backtracking and then do what they should have done originally, and probably all in the thing is, I don't even know if it's cost cutting because they're spending a lot of money to get us through this pandemic. Let's face it, but I think it's a lot of the time it's just about trying to be better than everybody else and not being better than everyone else.
Yeah, unfortunately, where we end up is normally being worse than everyone else.
Exactly.
But there was a very mixed message at the time because when they first released it, I think they released it on the Isle of Wight, which I don't know if I mentioned on the podcast. The idea of trying to get most people on the Isle of Wight to actually use mobile phone technology and understand how to work the app was probably a bit of a non-start in the first place. But then there was a very bungled message that came out from Matt Hancock who said, "Stay home, protect the NHS, save lives, unless you're on the Isle of Wight, in which case you can go out, and if you go out, you shouldn't go out, but use the app when you are out to make sure that we can still protect the NHS and save lives, even though you're not meant to go out, but use it if you do go out," was his very unusual message to give out.
I mean, so that just reminds me of the Father's Day card that I got my dad for Father's Day. Do you want to know what it is? Just while we're on the topic of government messages. So the Father's Day that I got card I got from my dad, and other people might have seen this as well. So it was a I'll try and put it up on the camera if I can, just so you can see it. Can you see that, Fisher?
I can see it says Dad on it. Happy Father. He's got a picture of Boris Johnson there.
There we go, picture of Boris Johnson, and it says, "Dad, have a great Father's Day. Don't have a great Father's Day. Don't go out. Go out. Have a nice day. Have presents. Don't have presents. Don't go out." But anyway, that's what I got my dad. But that's been all the way through, hasn't it? It's coming down. Nobody knows what they're doing. Nobody knows what they're doing.
Yeah, I don't know if we're still allowed to podcast or not. Obviously, I'm sure we are. And at some point, we'll be allowed to podcast in the same room as each other at 2 meters apart. But then that may drop to 1.5 or 2 meters, or 1.5 or 1 meter apart. And it might be. Is it going to be tomorrow that he's going to announce whether or not we can open pubs again?
Yeah,
is the rumor?
Apparently so.
Can you imagine that? It's going to be. I think when it does get announced. Because that said, I don't think many people actually watch the daily briefings anymore. But you think when it does get announced, it'll be like when England are playing in the Football World Cup and they score, and you cheer, and if you've got your window open, you can hear other people on your street cheering and all that sort of stuff. So it might be a big roar of cheers throughout the nation as he announces it tomorrow. But he's busy, isn't he, Boris?
Yeah,
Isn't he busy with his new plane?
He is.
Painting his plane.
Well, he's busy either phoning his insurance company or painting his new plane, 'cause he's had a couple of things this week, hasn't he? So first of all, he got shafted up the rear end.
What again?
So some would say he's had a bit of a car crash as a prime ministership so far. But he actually did have a car crash earlier in the week, and somebody, I think it was a security car supposed to be looking after him, ran into the back of his car.
I mean, he couldn't make it up, could you, really? Something that's there to protect his safety ends up running into him and nearly killing him or causing him some kind of accident.
I think Boris is just really sort of sharp and heavy on the brakes or something.
Do you think he drives himself anywhere, or is he...
No, maybe he was just like, brake, don't brake, brake, but don't brake, don't brake, brake. Maybe that's what happened. But yeah, he's playing. So what's this with his plane then?
He's repainting his plane, isn't he? At a cost of about £900,000. Trying to get it more colourful, more patriotic, okay. I think. I can't remember the exact details of it, actually, to be fair.
That's his own plane?
No, the UK Prime Minister's plane.
Oh, right. So, like, they've got, America have got Air Force One, is it? And has he got his own sort of plane?
Yeah, I think he's got EasyJet flight 1739. No, he's...
They ought to just make it like stick a massive he could just stick a massive like wig on the top of it, so it's like the Boris plane.
Well, it's interesting to mention that because it is nicknamed Air Force One.
Is it?
in honour of Boris. It's currently surrounded by scaffolding in an airport hangar, and it's been given a colourful respray, which it's led to believe it's going to be sort of sprayed with, red, white, and blue with UK Union Jack colours. Be a bit more kind of Brexity and a bit more sort of patriotic.
Oh,
I don't know what colour it is at the moment.
Well, that means they've obviously got to come up with some sort of lie for the side of it as well. Obviously, just to go with the keep on brand, haven't they? With all of that. Yeah,
maybe to just put on there. This plane cost £900,000 to respray. Maybe we could have given it to the NHS instead.
Yeah,
an apt way of doing it. I think that's pretty much about it. Talking about sort of government people and mentioning Matt Hancock, could you see Dominic Raab interviewed? It was talking about a lot of football players prior to games over the course of the weekend have been taking a knee, if you've seen that. Mm-hmm. Actually, did you see Mane, the Liverpool player?
Did he not do it or something like that?
He didn't realise they were doing it. So what they do is, at the start of the game, they're ready, they're poised for the kickoff, the referee blows the whistle, and all the players drop down on one knee. Mane kind of wasn't quite read into this, and he just went sprinting down the wing while all of the 21 players and the referee are on the knee. And they went running back to his position, dropped on his knee,
and then it was too late.
Up again, then they had the kick-off. Yeah.
But the worst thing is, people were having a go at him on Twitter for not doing it. Like, I know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I really don't think Mane, out of everybody, is purposely chose not to do it. Do you know what I mean?
I think above all else, he probably just forgot and was too focused on the game. I'm sure. But yeah, Dominic Raab, the Foreign Secretary, was asked about taking a knee, and someone said to him, "Would you take a knee if requested?" And do you know what he should have? Do you know what he should have said?
Yeah.
He should have said, "Yeah, I would do." Do you know what he actually said?
Yeah.
And that's it's not to say that everyone agrees with this or not, but it's kind of a popular thing. Politicians like to be popular and all that sort of stuff. You'd have thought it'd be fairly simple and straightforward. Yes, I would, in terms of showing equality and solidarity and all that sort of stuff. He said, I think it's something to do with Game of Thrones, which I'm not quite sure whether that's right. I don't know whether it originates.
Oh yeah, there's a take the knee or something. It's I do remember that couple of scenes in Game of Thrones. Yeah, bend at the knee. I think it was something like that.
Yeah, so I'm not quite sure where it comes from. I know sort of Colin Kaepernick, the American footballer, was sort of popularised that particular move. Whether it was anything to do with Game of Thrones or before that, I don't quite know. And then he said, "I only get down on one knee for the Queen or for my missus." So what a lovely way to refer to his lovely wife, who must be listening there. I think, but husband Dominic's on TV. He's going to be interviewed. I wonder what he's going to say. Perhaps he'll say something nice about me. Oh, he's referred to me as his missus. Oh, isn't that lovely? Does he care about sort of equality for all? And would he stand in solidarity with those minorities who have been repressed? No, he wouldn't. Oh, right, okay, well, never mind. But yeah, he would do it for the Queen. Yeah, that's nice of him. Does he think when he says he'd take the knee for the Queen, does he think he's actually going to get given a knighthood at some point?
Yeah,
I think that's what he's saying.
He's hoping too much, isn't he, I suppose?
Yeah.
There's been a Marmite shortage, and these are just two quick little stories I want to finish on, really. But there's a Marmite shortage. Obviously,
feel about that?
I'm not sure, really. I mean, what do you think about? You either love it or hate it, don't you, Marmite? What do you think?
I'm more on the hate side of things, really. I'm not keen. How about yourself?
Nah, I'm on the fence.
Oh, yeah, really?
Yeah. Which is strange because Marmite you're supposed to love or hate.
Yeah.
No, I'm only joking. I think I'm more on the hate as well.
Yeah. I've never really had it that much.
Do you know in Australia, which brings me on to the next thing, but in Australia they call Marmite is called Vegemite, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Which brings us on to a nice next story.
Well, I don't think it does actually. Do you want to start on the story?
What about the Australian? So you've labelled it as because we when we do our planning. We just quickly put like a few little notes to remind ourselves what we want to talk about. So what you've put is, oh no, I've got it wrong. I've just read it properly. Okay, I said Australian I thought we were going to be talking about an Australian farting man. As it happens, we're going to be talking about an Austrian farting man.
Okay, an Austrian farting man. So
he didn't live in that. He didn't live in that town, did he? That we mentioned last week.
He did not. No. A man in Austria has been fined €500 for farting in front of the police.
Right.
So isn't that great? I'm not sure whether they're concerned that they might catch coronavirus from him or something like that, but they said the policeman said that he farted on purpose, which they said they would never sort of fine anyone for accidentally breaking wind, but it was quite clear that he basically ran up to them and farted in front of them. Like
some people used to do as a kid.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a bit pull my finger or anything like that.
But surely you can only get done for a crime if it's written in a book that it's a crime. So how has he managed to get into trouble for farting if it's not actually in the book of you can't do that?
Well, I don't think it's that prescriptive, is it? I mean, it's a bit like saying that I'm sure there's no rule against you running around and kicking elephants, but I'm sure it's probably not actually allowed. But I don't think there's a rule that's that specific in terms of you cannot kick an elephant, for example.
Yeah, but that would be some sort of criminal damage, though, wouldn't it, or something, or like animal cruelty. Whereas what could you say for breaking wind in front of a police? Like, it's not physical. It's not, like swearing. It's not, I know you can get foul and abusive language possibly. Wasting police time if they've got to hang around and deal with that issue. And I suppose
loitering with intent, is that what the smell was doing?
There is that. You have the right to remain silent. Anyway, I think it's a good time to move on. Do you?
Yeah.
So, a bit like you, Fisher, I have had a bit of a busy weekend, and I haven't, you used a bit of a quiz that you've kind of sort of prepared previously, haven't you? And I've had to kind of dip into some of my previous plans that I'd never used as well. And if you remember quite far back, I did a bit of a quiz about strange survey results, if you remember. So, like about weird survey results and what you might not have expected and things like that. Like so many... Canadians prefer chocolate to sex or something like that. Well, before that, I was kind of looking at like weird surveys that there are online and weird survey questions, or not even survey questions, but those kind of, like would you rather, that you kind of things that you might play at a party.
Sort of, what percentage of Austrian people fart in front of policemen and get arrested for it?
No, I would probably describe this as being more like I'd describe this as being more like one of those would you rather sort of things. Yeah. Does that make sense? So it's a would you rather game, okay? So I'm going to put this up on our Facebook page. Okay, I'm going to publish a poll each at a time, just so you can see the questions. Obviously, you won't have much time if you're watching or listening to this to kind of say an answer, but I'm going to put it up there so that you can see what we're asking. So I'm going to ask what my question is, Fisher. You can answer this. I'd like you to answer it from a personal perspective, but I'd also like you to say what do you think most people would have said. Is that all right? Mm-hmm. If there is anything you don't want to answer yourself, don't answer it yourself, but I'd like to know what you think most people would have said. Is that okay?
Yes.
There's going to be some quite unusual ones, okay? I found this on a website, and each survey had about 3,000 to 4,000 answers, so it's a decent amount of people to answer a sort of survey or a poll. Are you ready?
Yep.
So the first one then is, would you rather be a cat with a human face or a dog with human hands?
So this is like Richard Herring's emergency questions, isn't it? If you've ever had the pleasure of such things. So would you rather be a cat with a human face or a dog with human hands?
Yeah.
Was that? Well, a cat with a human face. I think the problem is if you're a cat with a human face, then people might think you're in that film Cats that was released just before Christmas that I think was absolutely terrible, wasn't it? You got Dame Judi Dench in it and Jason Derulo and various
Idris
people
Elba.
like that.
Idris Elba?
Yeah, and it was unanimously sorry, not unanimously. Yeah, it was panned by all the critics. I think was
Yeah.
the general theme running through that. So I think as a result of that, more people would rather be dogs with human hands.
And the answer there is yes, you are correct. Well done. Most people surveyed, 66.7% of people would have preferred to be a dog with human hands. So there you go. Are you ready for the next
with your
one?
human hands if you're a dog? Just spend it sort of scratching your balls and that sort of stuff, and various other things that dogs do.
Exactly. Next one then. Are you ready for your next one?
Yep.
These are going to be very unusual, okay? So I do apologise in advance, okay? So your mum and partner switch bodies. The only way to switch them back is to have sex with them. So which one would you rather have sex with? Your partner in your mum's body, or your mum in your partner's body? Now, I'm not, like I said, you don't have to answer this from a personal perspective. I just want to know what you think the most popular answer would have been.
Well, I think for obvious reasons, it's a very, very moral dilemma. And I will not answer this question myself. I will merely try and put myself in the mindset of members of the general public who may think along that side of things. I can only assume that they've asked this to men or people who would like to be in a relationship with a lady. Because surely it becomes a bit strange if you're asking the question to a woman who wants to go out with a man.
True.
Yeah, that would be even more weird.
Maybe girls aren't just going to bother with this stupid survey. That's what it is. They've got more sense to answer silly survey questions like this.
Yeah, it probably makes sense. It would say, what a stupid and ridiculous question to ask, so we're not going to even dignify it with that kind of response.
Apparently it kind of happens on Freaky Friday, as a film called Freaky Friday. I mean, not that in particular, but where the parents switch bodies or something like that.
I don't know. And I don't know how you would answer it, or why anyone. Well, I don't know why anyone would actually want to answer it at all.
But what would people have said? Would they, in order to switch them back, would they have preferred to have slept with their mum in their girlfriend or partner's body, or their girlfriend in their mum's body? What do you think would have been the most popular answer?
I'm assuming the more popular answer would be that they would rather be in the body of their partner.
So you're saying girlfriend in mum's body? No, you're saying mum in girlfriend's body.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I think more people would think that.
Well, you are wrong on that account. Well, yeah. So 66 point. Oh, actually.
66.6% is yes. So basically, three people answered the question.
65.3% said that they'd go with the girlfriend in the mum's body. No, so that's right. That's so you are wrong, aren't you? Because you were saying that more people would want to go with the girl. Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose what I'm saying is I don't think many people would want to have sex with someone who basically looked like their mum.
Yeah. But the answer there is you got it the wrong way around. So 66.3% said, I think they'd rather the fact that it was the girlfriend, but they were in the mum's body, is what they're saying. Whereas if you did it the other way around, you've actually had it with your mum, but you've actually had it with your mum, but they were in your girlfriend's body. So people thought about it and thought no, because obviously if it's not, anyway, let's move on.
Can you just ask the next question, please?
Okay, next question then. So here we go. This one is: would you rather have penis-sized nipples or nipple-sized penis?
Oh man. Well, I mean, I suppose whose penis are you using as measurement?
I don't know, but there's a vast difference between nipple sizes and penis sizes in most cases.
Well, yeah, what if you've got a tiny penis now? I mean, wouldn't be that much of a difference, would it? So, I don't know, why do men have nipples?
Nobody knows, do they? They apparently they're on the way out. They're not fashionable anymore. We're just not bothering with it. We're just, I'm not wearing them today.
Well, we don't need them, though, do we?
No.
Men don't. I mean, females do, fair enough, because they need them for breastfeeding and all that sort of stuff. Men don't need them.
No.
So what's the point in having them? How come either the Bible or evolution hasn't sort of sorted that out at an earlier time? What would you rather have?
So, yeah, penis-sized nipples or nipple-sized penis?
Is it just a penis, or has it got the testicles below it as well, does it say?
It doesn't say.
Surely it'd be a bit... I mean, if you've ever watched, for example, some sprinters running in the men's 100-metre race, for example, at the Olympics, you can normally see sort of in the tight lycra. Yeah. I mean, you must have seen it before, surely.
Not that I've been looking.
Well, but come on, when they show it in slow motion at the end of the race, let's have a look at this. But if you've got two of those sort of on your nipples and you're running around sort of with them, that wouldn't be very good, would it?
No.
So I think, that said, if it's men who've been asked, then they'd probably do anything just to make sure that they don't reduce the size of their penis. So I think they'd rather have penises for nipples.
Well...
Or penis-sized nipples.
You're wrong.
Really?
Quite close, this one, though. 58.3% said that they would rather have nipple-sized penis than penis-sized nipples. And again, there's about 4,000 people who've taken part in this, by the way.
Where have they found these people to actually answer these stupid questions?
Exactly. Next, then. So, here we go. Would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck?
Right, 100 duck-sized horses. Well, the horses you'd think would be quite strong. I mean, would a duck be a bad thing to get in a fight with? Wouldn't be able to do much, would it?
But if it was a big duck,
well, you just chuck him in the water and then feed him like a massive, great big slice of bread. Because it's bad for ducks, isn't it? Bread, doesn't it swell the stomachs up? Or you could maybe do that thing where if you feed it, if you can get it to go in the pond and like throw some bread at it, so you can hit it on the back of the head, so it's like head goes underneath and then pops back up out the other side of it. Have you done that before?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. Not that I'm proud of doing
there's
it.
Ducklings at my There's ducklings at my local duck pond, and it started off with 9, and they've dropped down to 8 now, as they tend to do in the early stages. But I'm keeping an eye on them.
Are you sure one of them's not just sort of gone for a bit of a walk or doing a bit of swimming, or
there's also,
how do you know it's not around?
There's also a horse-sized duck down there as well. But not sure.
What's it like at fighting? I think surely it's better to go against one than it is to go against 100. So I think it'd be better to fight a horse-sized duck.
Be interesting to see, the sort of demographics of who's answered which 3,000 or 4,000 people, where they're from, the Americans or something. But they went for 64.6% said they'd rather fight 100 duck-sized horses.
Have you seen the TV program they have in Japan? They have some kind of every year or so they have like this football game where they have 3 professional footballers against 100 school children. Right. And they see who kind of scores the most goals in 10 or 15 minutes or whatever. And the children kind of line up in I think they have 10 people in the net. They also then have, I think it's a classic sort of 40, 30, 20 formation. That they go for. And it's basically it's sort of like it was when you played football at under 9s or under 10s and everyone just follows the ball.
Oh yeah.
But the exception is that there's 100 people in after it on this occasion. So and they all just go charging after it.
So the others are like adults trying to do, or professionals.
Well, yeah, the other 3 are professional footballers.
Right. Okay.
Who are trying to beat the 100 children. I would highly recommend you YouTube it just to see what it's like.
So it's a bit like I suppose it's a bit like Chelsea's season. I suppose and them play they've got a lot of young kids at the minute playing for them, haven't they?
Yeah, because they can't sign any players. So they've not got 100 players playing on the pitch, though.
Yeah.
Talking about 100, we've not mentioned that Vera Lynn died, have we?
Oh yeah, of course. 103 she was, and and we I only dressed as her, didn't I? A couple of episodes back.
Yeah, absolutely. So
I didn't. Did I? That was I got it mixed up and I dressed as Dame Edna Everidge instead.
Well, you tried your best. But can you remember when we did a radio programme and we made a Woman of the Year, Person of the Year, didn't we, on a year of 100th birthday?
Right.
So what year must that have been? 2017, I think.
Mm-hmm.
On Christmas programme on Penistone FM, annual review of the year.
Yeah, I remember that.
Are you still presenting on Penistone FM?
I'm not still... Well, yes, I am at weekends, yeah. I'm just on a Sunday.
Oh, right, okay. Is that pre-recorded still?
Yeah, still pre-recorded. 95.7.
Shamelessly give it a shout out.
Penistone FM, 95.7, online as well. Jimbo's Sunday Brunch.
Wow, is that... Come on, it's like pulling teeth here. Is this between 10 and 12?
Yeah, between 10 and 12. We've done it that many times, Fisher. I should be better at it.
I didn't know your hours had changed. I wasn't too sure what was happening now.
Anyway.
It's unprecedented times at the moment, Jimbo.
Are you ready for your next question?
Come on, let's have the next question.
So, if for every day of the year you had to do one of these things, what would you do? Sweat milk or bath in beans?
Bath in beans?
People do that for charity, don't they?
What, sweat milk? No, they don't.
No, bath in beans.
Yeah, they do. I was going to say it's a popular thing. I don't quite know why it's a popular thing. I mean, who are these people who do it? Is anyone listening or watching to this ever bathed in some beans for charity? If so, can you tell us why you did it and what you thought the idea was, why it was such a good thing to do?
Why not spaghetti hoops? Or beans with sausages?
Or water.
Yeah.
To bath in, that might be better.
You can get full English breakfast in a tin now, can't you?
Yes, you can. I suspect it's probably not very nice, but there we go. I think that... The thing is, if you're bathing beans, once you got out of the bath, you've then got to empty your bath and then have another bath to get all the bean juice off you, surely.
Yeah.
So
when you empty the... Yeah, well, how are you supposed... Because aren't beans just going to clog up the drains?
You'd have to eat them all. You'd have to put the bathtub on the hob.
Mm.
Just cook the beans, and then eat your way out. I don't know. I suppose it's something that never gets reported. Hopefully, in this day and age, with the manner in which sort of some people go hungry and sort of struggle for food, it would be a bit of a waste just to have baked beans just be there so someone can sit in it.
We're going to raise money for people in poverty by having a bath of baked beans that they could of hundreds of tins of baked beans that we could have given to a food bank.
Exactly. So I think it might be sweating milk. I think will probably be nicer. Not that nice. You need to make sure you had a bath after every night, because otherwise the milk could kind of go all stale and old and not smell very nice and go off. But I think it's probably better to sweat milk anyway, isn't it? So
you think more people would have wanted to sweat milk? Would you say sweat milk every day rather than have a bath of beans every day?
I'd rather do neither, but I think if I had the option of one or the other, I think sweating milk probably would be the preferable option. You know,
when you've made a cup of tea and and you go to the fridge like just to put the milk, and there's no milk left. Oh, I'm gonna have to run to the shop. Oh, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
Up you go.
let me just turn the heating up. Yeah, there we go.
So you think the milk one's the most popular answer, yeah?
I think there's a 50% chance it is, yeah.
No, not far off a Brexit result with this one, 53.5% to 46.5%. But apparently there were lies told by the beans campaign there about how many tins of beans it would take and how many tins of beans they could give to homeless shelters if they voted for beans. But anyway, never mind. So that's that one anyway. So the next one then, and I've got a few more. Don't we? We'll try and get through them as quick as we can. So next one. Would you rather be able to read minds or see into the future?
Oh, that's a good one, isn't it? Read people's minds. I can sort of do it, actually. Reading people's minds. Oh, you disgust me at times, Jimbo. Oh, dear.
I'm still thinking about you having a bath of beans, clearly.
Yeah. Or see into the future. Don't know. Would you want to know what's going to happen in the future? I think some people just like the rich tapestry that life gives them and just take it in their stride.
Surely, if you could read minds, you might be able to see into the future as well, because you can know what people are going to do.
You might. Well, you don't necessarily know what they're going to do. You might know what they're thinking and what their thoughts are. I think people would rather. I think people would rather read people's minds and know what other people are thinking. Yeah.
Well done. Finally, you got one right. So next then, there's still plenty more, don't worry. Let's have a look. Here we go then. Next one is... Are you excited every time I'm going to put one up? This is a good one. Eat poo-flavoured ice cream or eat ice cream-flavoured poo?
Who asked these questions? Ice cream flavoured poo or poo flavoured ice cream?
Yeah.
Well, surely they're just as bad as it. Well, you wouldn't want to eat. It's surely very unhygienic, particularly in this moment of pandemic. Did you not see that? Keep 2 meters apart. Wash your hands regularly. Don't eat poo, even if it's flavoured like ice cream. Don't touch your face.
That's a new slogan coming out next week.
Yeah. Just if you
we're now going to lift the restrictions, and you can now eat poop flavoured ice cream.
Well, no, eat ice cream flavoured poop is a problem. Poop flavoured ice cream, there'd be no hygiene issues with that. It just wouldn't taste very nice. It must surely be that you would rather eat something that's not very nice, but even if it's not very nice and doesn't taste very nice, at least you're not eating poo.
Well done, yeah, you're right. I mean, still 65.3%, still 34.7% they'd eat ice cream flavoured poop. Or eat, anyway, I don't know. Mad.
It depends what flavour the ice cream is. If it was poop flavoured ice cream, then you just end up eating poop that's flavoured like ice cream, but the ice cream flavoured like poo, so it ends up being just poo that tastes like poo anyway. So, completely doing yourself in.
Next one. Would you rather have teeth for hair or have hair for teeth?
Teeth for hair or hair for teeth? Well, you wouldn't be able to eat your food properly if you've got... I mean, it's really annoying when you eat something that's got a hair in it anyway, isn't it? Imagine if you continue trying to eat something... Oh, no, it's just my teeth that are like hair. But then, I suppose you wouldn't have to... For lockdown haircuts, what would you have to... That wouldn't be a problem, would it, if you've got teeth on your head? I'm just gonna give me a second, I'm just going to go brush my hair. What, with with a toothbrush and toothpaste? Yeah, that still work, yeah. Yeah. Be able to brush it properly, yeah. But I think, yeah, it depends when this question was asked. I think if it is to avoid the lockdown haircuts and the long hair that is kind of going for me at the moment, I'm not sure about yourself, when you last had your haircut. It's quite an overwhelming one, this one, actually. Is it? I would say it would be teeth for hair. And you would be correct. Well done, yeah. Teeth for hair. Yeah, I think I'd have said that as well. I was thinking if you did have hair for teeth, then surely you could do that thing, where you try and... Yeah. Like that. But you could create your own little beard, couldn't you, if you got hair coming out and sort of cover your chin with it. How much are you into Star Wars? Not at all. I've never seen a single Star Wars film. Have you not? Okay. Nope. Do you know who Jar Jar Binks is? Is that the Jar Jar sticky tongue type thing that you used to have in the crisps? Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah. Do you know what Jar Jar Binks looks like and sounds like, or not really? Should we skip that one? Let's skip that one. Let's skip that one. We've got quite a lot to get for it. Well, we've got 3 more, but I'll skip that one. Next then, okay. So, would you rather be stung all over by a million bees or stamp on a kitten? Oh. I suppose it depends whether you like cats or kittens, doesn't it? Well, surely, I think everyone likes the young of any animal more than the old, don't we? Mm. So I suspect the answer surely must be the same in terms of cats or kittens, because you wouldn't want to hurt a cat. It's a selfish one, isn't it? It's like, would you rather take some pain or would you rather stamp on a kitten to avoid it? Yeah. So I think if it was me, and I'm very mindful of the fact that my wife Vicky watches this and we've got a cat, so I would never harm that cat or any other cat. And that's to be fair, I wouldn't. So I would like to think that more people would rather be stung by some bees than have to stamp on a kitten. They would rather take pain themselves. So yeah, this is a shocker. But this is 4,000 people who were asked this. More people. 54.9% said they'd rather stamp on a kitten. I wouldn't have voted for that.
Nobody at the Waste of Web Space podcast headquarters would have voted for that answer, but wherever this survey is from, 3,000 to 4,000 people who were surveyed, most of them would stamp on a kitten. There you go. Next then. We've done that one already. This one. Sorry.
Go on, Jimbo.
This
is worse than when I went to the toilet the other week.
Would you rather have hiccups for the rest of your life, or forever feel like you're about to sneeze?
Hiccups are all right, aren't they? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, but no, they're annoying.
Well,
and there's something quite nice about wanting to sneeze. There's something quite nice about it, isn't there? It's a nice feeling. Do you think?
Would you ever sneeze though? Is I suppose my question.
That's it. Yeah, because if it's disappointing when you lose a sneeze, isn't it?
Yeah.
You have to look at lights and stuff to try and bring it back.
I think it's just the entire times when. Oh, I've not sneezed. I think that would get annoying. That said, can you imagine if you're announcing your wedding vows and I, Dominic Raab, take you, the wife, to be my wife, and so I think that would be quite bad. I think people would rather. I think they'd rather be on the cusp of sneezing instead of having the hiccups.
Well done, correct. Congratulations. I think we're nearly at the end now. So, would you rather... why does that one keep vanishing? There we go. This is your last one, okay? So, would you rather have chopsticks for hands or office chair wheels for feet? And by the way, this chair is attached to me. Yeah. I like the idea, so now I've got office chair for feet.
Well, you can just sit on your chair, can't you?
Yeah.
Is it true that your auntie sort of used to actually sit in the kitchen and roll around on the chair, or not?
Yeah, no, that's true. That's because she didn't have a computer, I don't think, or she didn't use one. I think she used Facebook, but as far as I'm aware, she didn't have a computer, but anyway.
So just because you don't have a computer doesn't mean, say, you've got to sit on a computer chair and roll around in your kitchen. I would hasten to add.
What do you mean?
Well, I said that she used to roll around on a chair in the kitchen.
Yeah.
You said, yeah, because she's not got a computer. Now, the two aren't events that are dependent on each other. It's not, well, I'll tell you what, his computer broke, so he spent all his time today just rolling around in the kitchen on his chair. Not got anything else to do, has he, poor lad?
So, would you rather have chopsticks for hands or office chair wheels for feet? And bear in mind as well, you're good at, but whichever one you choose, you are bloody brilliant at doing as well. You are absolutely you don't struggle. You're just getting along with it fine. You're like Edward Scissorhands. You're fine. You can just... Well, to be fair, he doesn't get on with it fine, does he? Because he ends up causing a lot of havoc with his scissor hands. But anyway, imagine that it's fine. You know what you're doing. You're fine. You're comfortable.
Depends what you're doing. I mean, I suspect Edward Scissorhands is not very good at blowing some balloons up and things, stuff, is he? But I'd say that people would actually like to have office chair wheels for feet because it's like having roller skates on. People like to have roller skates on. So I think, yeah, I'm going to say that.
Well done. This one was an overwhelming one. So 86.8% of people said that they would rather have office chair wheels for feet. There you go. That was a bit bizarre, weren't it? Did you enjoy it?
Not really, no. Particularly when you ask a question about who you'd rather have sex with in terms of your partner or your mother and all that sort of stuff. So, no, it wasn't the most enjoyable. What's wrong with just
That's down to me for bad preparation, so I went back to something that I put in the bin a while back. Yeah. But anyway, people may have enjoyed it.
In the bin? I seem to. I can only ask Jimbo.
Anyway, so that's all for today's episode, our successful live episode, which means it's so easy for me because I don't have to do anything after this. It just goes live and people can watch it again if they want to and take part as well. So there you go.
You can get yourself in your kitchen and roll around on your chair for a bit if you want.
You can do. There's plenty of stuff you can do. Please do get in touch with us. You can write below the video or you can tweet. You can write to us on our Facebook pages or anything at all. Please do get in touch. It's been quite a long episode today, so we'll not keep going on any longer. Have a good rest of the evening. And also, we will give, if you do get in touch, we will give you shout-outs and things like that each week. And, of course, leave a review as well. There is a podcast awards, by the way, Fisher, that we need to put out on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Dom, by the way, who, if you remember, came on the Country podcast. It came on from his country chat with Dom.
It came on our podcast.
Yeah.
It's from the country podcast. It came on our podcast. Let's make this clear. Just because he appeared on it once doesn't mean he's got to rename our podcast.
He's from the country chat with Dom podcast, but he alerted us to the fact that you can do this voting for your favourite podcast, and it's in association with BBC Music or something like that, or BBC Podcasts or BBC Sounds.
BBC sort of podcasting bit, yeah.
Yeah, so if you want to do that, then we'll share it from our Facebook page, and also vote.
Make sure you vote for our podcast and not Dom's, please.
Or the one that we didn't mention earlier on that we think keep following our footsteps. But anyway,
I bet they'll be mentioning that on their podcast next week, won't they? The BBC Podcasting Awards, whatever it's called.
Thank you very much for listening. Bye bye.
Thank you very much. See ya. Bye.